Hello, family. I thought I would share some pictures. I was reading a book by Gert, Gert Muller, Muller. And he wrote a book, the title, The Ancient Black Hebrews and Jacob Family. So I was just looking through the book, and I'm going to share some photos of the ancient Israelites compared to the ancient Egyptians. So I'm going to read this introduction regarding the photos. It says, Beni Hussein, Tomb 3. One cannot be so dismissive of the images from Beni Hussein, Tomb 3. They dated back to the Middle Kingdom reign of Sorceress II from 1897 through 1878 BC. The tomb belonged to Kamnuhotep, governor of Oxney Home. Now here's some painting of a painter from Australia. I'm going to read about that painter, and his name was Lipsinus. So he painted the ancient Israelites and the ancient Egyptians. Pretty fair for the Israelites. This is supposed to be the Israelites right here. These are the men here, and here is the Egyptian. Here is more ancient Hebrew men, and these are the wives, and this is the children. Figure 9 replica of the Tomb 3 from Carl Lipsinus, showing much lightened Asiatic and Egyptians. And here they are right here. So he painted these pictures from the wall, the actual walls of the individuals. I think it was in the Middle Kingdom in Egypt. It says, in row 3 of the north walls, it depicts one of the most reproduced and distorted scenes of all times. The images is important because the leading theories are that it is of the Hyksos, the Amorites or biblical patriarchs. All three theories make them persons of interest. This scene of light-skinned Asiatic gives tribute to Egyptian has been seen by most interested parties several times in textbooks and on the web. The Beni Hussein Visual Dictionary has been prepared by Macquarie University in Australia with involvement of Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities. Shannon Collis, writing for them, introduced row 3 as follow. Now we're talking about the very first picture I just showed you that was painted really really light, like yellow. So it was painted by Lipsinus, a painter by the name of Lipsinus in Britain and in Australia, I think it says. Two non-Egyptian men she's describing the painting, the first painting. Two non-Egyptian men bring animals and offering to the tomb owner. This detail occurs within the scene of an Asiatic procession on the chapel. Journal views of the north wall. The two men represent as non-Egyptians have skin painted in yellow. Remember the picture I showed you? Let me go back. I hope I can go back and mess this up. There they are. This is what she claimed that was on the wall. This is what she claimed that this is the color that was painted. Well, let's go on. Two non-Egyptian men bring animals and offering to the tomb owner. This detail occurs within the scene of the Asiatic procession on the chapel's general view of the north wall. The two men represented as non-Egyptians have skin painted yellow, large hook noses, and grayish blue eyes. I don't see how she can say grayish blue eyes because I couldn't see any eyes on that picture. Anyways, they were brightly colored and patterned clothing speckled in red, blue, and white. The men sport shorts. sports short pointed beards with coffet mushroom hairstyles. Well, those mushroom hairstyles was afros. Okay, Shannon Collis, leader of an Asiatic procession, a detail from the tomb of Khomhotep II at Benin Hassin in the Benin Hassin Visual Dictionary. Khomhotep II, edited by Alexander Woods, Brian Balsam Stanton. I hope I pronounced that name right, but anyways. And Nicole Leary, Sydney Marquis, University of 2018. It says, at this point, we have to take issue with the Asiatic being described as painted yellow, because nobody is yellow, as he's going to continue to say. The Metropolitan Museum of Art conducted a graphic expedition to Egypt, directed by Norman D. Garris Davis in the 1930s. His wife, Nina, made replicas of images, including Roll 3. The first picture I showed you of the ancient Israelites painted yellow. It says, below we represent the two non-Egyptian men in Daguerreotypes Davies replica. So here's his painting. This is what he painted compared to what listeners painted the first picture, having them looking yellow and having the Egyptian look was much lighter too. So it says, and we can in no way describe them as yellow exactly. So two different paintings by two different individuals, and they're painting from the actual wall. It's not the actual painting. Then he goes on to say, figure 10, replica of Nina Daguerreotypes Davies, shows the Asiatic were far darker than shown by Lepsinus. Right. This is his painting, and the first painting was by the other person. It's in the ancient Black history, the cover of in the ancient Black Hebrews, the cover-up were explained that different versions of the same image might have different complexion because of the lightning. It raises the question of whether Daguerreotypes Davies' replica was accurate. So he's saying, look, she painted it lighter because of the painting, and he painted a little darker than hers. So who to say if he is right or she is wrong? Did he go on to say, we can answer that question by representing the actual tomb painting below of both non-Egyptian men. There you go. This is the original painting. So the Davis was correct, more closer than the Lepsinus. So the first painting was really off. The first painting was clearly lightened by the painter or the artist. And this is the second person, which is, but this is also a painting by him, Daguerreotypes Davies. Go on. It says, figure 11, Abishai, an Amorite chief with Egyptian complexion, stone service shows it is not a replica. If anything, the leader of the Asiatic procession is slightly darker than in the Daguerreotypes Davis replica. Neither man can be described as yellow. So it says, if anything, the leader of the Asiatic procession is slightly darker than in the Daguerreotypes Davies replicas. So there was slightly darker, like a yellow person. There's no such thing as a yellow person. And then Daguerreotypes Davies replica was a little darker than Lepsinus, the first painting. It says neither man can be described as yellow. So the painting of Davies and the other painting of the first one, Lepsinus, it says neither one of them can be described as yellow. Let's go back and see here. No, what did I do? Oh, okay, there it is. Oh my goodness, sorry. So yeah, okay, so let's go on. Figure 12, an Amorite believed to be a Gazel's tamer. This discrepancy between the image as it appears in textbooks and the actual tomb painting should be a wake-up call when it comes to blindly trusting images without verifying whether they are original. These are the original. So here's the original picture versus the first two pictures was painted by two different men, two different painters, which the first one was, he lightened it according to this, looking from this. So when he was painting the first one, he was painting from this description, but he painted them 2 shades lighter, or he almost 3. Whereas Daguerre Davis painted them almost the same, I would say, closer than the first one. Figure 13, even the lighter brown emeralds look black. This is also on the walls. These are the actual painting of the women and the children. Remember the first one? They were all yellow, pale looking. Okay. It says figure 14, Amorite women shown with headbands. The other Asiatic men and the women in the processions are lighter than the 2 leading men, but they are not yellow, exactly last 2, not like the first one. It says they are the kind of brown associated with the people of African descent who has some European ancestry. There are comparable depictions of Amorites from Mari on the Euphrates with the intermediate complexion shown in Abraham and his family. The best interpretation of the ethnic identity of the Asiatics is that they are Amorites. This is the same broad ethnicity as the patriots. And they're going to say, who are the Asiatic? Where does the idea that these images represent Hyksos come from? It comes from the tomb inscription in the published archaeological survey of Benin Hussein exploration. The inscriptions accompany the image is given as the year 6 Urisin II. Urisin, I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly. The number of Amu brought by the son of Ha Prince, Kimhotep Amun Shun, number amounting to 37. It says Benin Hussein, Part 1 by Percy Newberry, Kagan Paul, Trench, Trubner and Company, 1893, page 69. The leader is given the caption, Hack Prince of the Desert. Abishai Collis has comment that, the leader is given the caption, Hack Prince of the Desert. Abishai Collis has comment that shed light on both the title and personal name. So I'm not going to try to read this names here. It says he is given the caption of HK, whatever that is. I guess it's a name. Ruler of a foreign land, Abishai representing the first recorded Middle Kingdom usage of the title scholar agree on. So this, I guess, is in Egyptian, the Middle Kingdom. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. Scholar agrees on a Northwest Semitic origin for JBS name. It has been equated with the Abishai, my father's king, Abashiri, my father's throne. The phrase Kasut, ruler of the foreign land, is where the term Hyksos is derived from. The name Abishai occurs in the Bible, 1 Chronicles 11:21, as one of the 3 mightiest warriors of King David. The biblical connection of the name is one of the reasons why they are seen related to Hebrew patriarch. These kinds of names would have occurred among Amorites. Interestingly, all of these Asiatics have black hair, red hair, and pale skin occurred among the Canaanites of European type. Hamites vs. Hebrews. We have highlighted how mainstream have often presented a lightened version of this image. Even the original complexion, however, can still cause misrepresentation. Sometimes an image ends where it ends because if more was shown, it would contradict the point being made. If one shows only the brown Asiatic in the same frame as the darker brown Egyptian, it insinuates the complexion of differences between the Egyptians and the Asiatics. If the dark brown Asiatic were included in the image, it would show that the Asiatic range of complexion included the darker brown of the Egyptians. Mainstreamers have circulated this misrepresentation images. It says the Egyptian and the Asiatic, if the darker brown Asiatic were included in the image, it would show that the Asiatic range of complexion included the darker brown of the Egyptians. Mainstreamers have circulated this misrepresenting image, but so have some in the black community who promotes the idea that the ancient Hebrews were not black. This is figure 15. A comparison of Amorites and Egyptian minus the darker Amorites. Okay, here's the women, children, men. These are ancient Hebrews. And here are the ancient Egyptians. They are all people of color. It's obvious. Even those who promote the idea that the ancient Hebrews were black have gone along with this misrepresentation. The image has led them to devise crass equations to maintain their position. They show a dark black person with a caption Hamite and a lighter black person with the caption Hebrew. This is done as if they do not understand that the only difference between the two is varying amounts of European ancestry. Okay, here's again this Egyptian. These are the original painting, original on the walls. It's painted on the walls. It says for figure 16, Abishai and an Egyptian official of the same complexion. And this is, they're talking about these two here. Same complexion. Sometimes they're a little lighter than the Egyptians. For Joseph to be mistaken for an Egyptian, it is likely that he was an Amorite of Abishai complexion. This image is the closest we currently have from Egypt to the appearance of Jacob and his family. The moral of the story, if you know the trick and ask the right question, you would not need to employ crass arguments to support your case. Okay, so I basically was just trying to show some photos. Here's another good book too. Also by I have this one here from the Pomegranate and Recklaw Library. It's the Ancient Black Hebrews and Arabs. I have this book as well. So anyways, family, I just thought I would share those pictures, the difference between, the Egyptians and the ancient Hebrews. They weren't that, the color, as far as the color was concerned, it wasn't that different. And that also that they were not Caucasian Europeans, but they were painted as so in some of the books with that same picture. I've seen that same picture in so many different books I have here at home. And some are light and some are dark. So he's right about it. All depends on who's painting it, but he did show the actual pictures on the walls, so we know that they were people of color. So anyways, I just thought I'd share those couple of just photos. I was just going through my book, looking at some of my books on Kindle, and I ran across that one. I thought I would share some of the photos. So you all have a good evening and shalom.